Hello Groveland Township. Today's video is being done on October the 15th, 2020. And this is an opportunity for us to give some of you who have asked questions about the ORV park and some of the startup issues we've had a chance to understand what we're doing. We had tested this facility every way we could think of with every permutation of use that we could think of for several years and not had a single problem. Then, as we opened the park up a few weeks ago, wow, we were surprised. Big backlog, a lot of different mixes of vehicles from what we thought, and so a couple of issues have come to the surface. One of them is there were a couple of weekends with real bad dust problems, and in a minute, Jon Noyes or Melissa Prowse is going to tell you what the things are that we're doing because we think we can fix that problem and have already started to do that, and I believe the steps they're taking will take care of that problem going forward. The second issue has been that some of the people that live closest to it have said that they can hear it, and that's because we've had a radically different mix of vehicles from what we've anticipated on all of the tests we did, and they're going to talk to you about what we're doing for that too. So without any further delay, I'd like to turn this over to Jon Noyes from the Oakland County Parks Department to talk to you about some of the things that are in the works, and we just ask that you be a little patient with us where we get these problems solved. We are committed to making this park work the way it should.
Hello, my name is Jon Noyes. I'm a planner for Oakland County Parks and Recreation. I'm very pleased to be speaking with you today about Holly Oaks Off-Road Vehicle Park. This is a project that I've actually been working on since about 2008, and we're very pleased that the park is finally open. The response has been overwhelming. We are very pleased that folks have been enjoying the park. We've been a little blown away by the reception. We've had a number of sellout days, and the vehicle mix has been outstanding. We've had folks come from all over the region, and we've really had vehicles of all different types, people of all ages that have been coming to the site. And despite all of the homework that we did leading up to this, like Bob said earlier, the mix of vehicles that we've gotten has been a little bit different than what we had originally anticipated. Despite all of that, the unique features of the site have really attracted some national attention, including a number of national sponsors that have had an interest in the site. And again, we know that folks have been waiting for this park for a very, very long time, but we think it's been worth the wait. So for folks that have visited or are thinking about visiting, our summer entrance is actually at Mount Holly Ski Resort. This partnership with Mount Holly actually allows us an additional 6 acres of parking to kind of address those sellout crowds that we've been having. There's about 6 acres of asphalt parking that's available at Mount Holly, and that whole project up at Mount Holly has been aiming to reduce or avoid traffic backups on Dixie Highway. We have stacking and the streamlined process where staff is essentially ushering folks in and getting them parked very quickly. So far has actually been doing a pretty good job of moving folks through. And again, with our online purchase opportunities, visitors can pretty much unload and go right into the park. So one thing that folks will see when they first get into the Mount Holly parking lot is that motorcycles and quads are actually not unloaded at Mount Holly, but they're directed on past the Mount Holly parking lot where they unload in our southern parking area. The reason is because we have better sound control in that southern lot. To get between the two parking lots, a road has actually been built by the folks at Mount Holly with a speed limit of 15 miles an hour, which is something we often have to remind folks of. But not only does it offer some pretty neat views of the ski resort as you're going to the off-road vehicle park, but it's a wonderful way of kind of ushering folks down and really introducing them to this experience. You will see that there is a fee that's charged for our daily users. Now, you don't need a recreational passport and you don't need a parks sticker, but there is a $15 fee per vehicle, not per person, to actually ride in the ORV area. These fees help us offset the operational expenses of the park. We're also requiring that folks essentially have their ORV permit and trail sticker. This makes the park eligible for grants, and really the state, through that ORV program, has made available about $440,000 for the development of the park, which we are very grateful for. We've also been actually getting a number of corporate rentals of the site when the site is not open for public use. This allows us to kind of offset some of those additional operating expenses to keep the daily rate as low as what it is. And when you enter the park, you're going to see that after you've worked your way through both parking areas down to the south, staff will essentially be scanning your receipts and issuing a wristband, which for some vehicle riders will actually go on the wrist. For other vehicles, it will actually be attached right to the vehicle itself. We call that area affectionately the funnel, because everyone has to funnel through it in order to get into the adventure area. And on busy days, you'll see multiple staff working that stacking lane before folks go through the funnel. And one of the changes that we've recently made at the park is that everyone essentially is going to be funneled through our DJ Soundcheck, which is where we have a sound meter set up so that we can actually get a decibel reading of every vehicle that's actually passing into the ORV riding area. This allows us to identify potential problem vehicles and then pull them over for additional sound checks. For those who don't know, who haven't been to Silver Lake and have had this experience for themselves, the state requirements are that vehicles have no more than 94 decibels as measured 20 inches from the tailpipe at half the vehicle's maximum RPM. Sometimes you'll hear it referred to as half throttle. And then that really is kind of making sure that really that there aren't some exceptionally loud vehicles that are going into the park. As Bob pointed out, dust has also been a learning experience for us. When we did our test events at the site, we thought that it would be sufficient to just apply dust control measures to the main roads and parking areas. And that's what we did going into this project. What we found, though, is that because of the overwhelming response that we've gotten from our park visitors, really it's been necessary for us to begin to actually treat all of the trails on the site as well as those kind of main roadways. As Bob has kind of alluded to in the past, this has definitely been a learning experience for us, and we've actually been making improvements to the park in real time. So every day that we've been open, we've been seeing areas where we need to improve drainage, we need to address sound control by enhancing our berms or barriers. There have been areas that we've installed additional directional signage to make sure that it's as safe as possible, remove obstacles when appropriate, add obstacles when there's a need for definite excitement on a feature, and really, again, it's just been a learning experience for everyone involved. One of these learning experiences that has been a little painful is that in some cases we have to close a feature until we really have all of our act together to make sure that we can really address the sound and dust issues before they become problems instead of after they become problems. Recently, we actually made the decision to close Glen, which is a really, really popular short course that is at the site up close to Dixie Highway, as well as the Oasis, which has a number of hill climbs that again face Dixie Highway. In both of those instances, we are now excluding motorcycles and quads until we can really get a handle to make sure that all the vehicles entering the site are compliant with that 94 decibel limit. And again, we have heard some backlash with that, but we see this as a positive thing. It means that folks really do enjoy these features, and we just need to do our homework to make sure that we can make the changes necessary so that they can, again, be enjoyed by everyone who visits the park. It is important to note, too, that Whereas sometimes our learning indicates that we have to close a feature. In other cases, it means that we need to open features. The sandbox, for example, was originally limited to motorcycle use only, but we found that actually a good mix of vehicles, including quads and side-by-sides, actually helps maintain a better surface for all vehicles involved. So access to the sandbox has recently been increased, whereas we had to actually reduce the access to Holly Glen. We're also continuing to look at opportunities to add new features throughout the park. It's really interesting to see the park evolve as people are using these areas. One of our original goals was that the majority of this park would be pick your own adventure. Let people go where they want and they'll kind of make their own fun. But very quickly we have seen those areas that need a little bit of help before they can really be enjoyed by everybody. So look for new features to be coming soon. I think that we've got our work cut out for us this winter so that we can be open for everybody next spring. So thank you very much for the opportunity to bring this park to you and to allow me to speak today. Thank you.